is Tony Loco Soto.
Back in the day, they called me Tormenta, which meant torment in Spanish. And, I thought that was pretty crazy. I was like, nah, man, I am fucking crazy, but, crazy doesn't sell. So I was like, what's another way to say crazy? I was like, loco. Fucking, that's it. It just stuck to me. The thing about combat sports is I was always fighting. I loved fighting. It was just like my niche as a very young age, and never really had the money to put me into karate. I begged my mother. That's all I knew as far as fighting was karate. Everybody, who did karate was pretty cool when I was growing up, and I used to go to a bunch of like free classes because I couldn't afford it. So I'd find all the karate schools and try to go to free classes and get as much, knowledge as I could at the time. But a couple buddies of mine, we started doing like a little underground fighting in Park Slope over in Prospect Park. There was no weight classes. It was like me, my buddy Max, my buddy Pat, Carlos, Miles. There was a bunch of us, and we would go into the park, no time limit at all, and put gloves on until somebody just stopped. And it was amazing. We put little MMA gloves on and just went at it. This is during like the Chuck Liddell era. I felt like my first kickboxing match was definitely an eye-opener to me. I felt like this was like for me. I fought under the organization ECF, Extreme Cage Fighting, out of New York City. And then I had my MMA fight over there, and I was like, wow, I love MMA. And I actually fell in love with MMA more than anything. And the fact that it wasn't legal in New York City at the time, and we were fighting in clubs and in hotels, and my record doesn't reflect online because they were unsanctioned fights. Honestly, I'd have to say Muay Thai. It was just very grueling. There wasn't a lot of movement with Muay Thai, but I feel like it just made you a tough son of a bitch. Like you had no choice but to stand and bang. And if you were hurt, you had to have a good poker face. And, I trained Muay Thai under Shuto Box, Luis Alcevedo over at Class 1 MMA. A big shout out to Luis. But yeah, man, like that really made me a tough son of a bitch. Also training with Oluwale Bamba Goose, my man Wale. He made it in from that camp, made it all the way to the UFC. Yeah, I had a child very young. I consider young. I was 21. Some don't, but I do consider that very young. And my wife was 19. I had a lot of growing up to do really, really, really fast. And fighting wasn't a thing for me until I had that kid. I felt like I had something to fight for. And I really jumped into this head first. And I fucking feel like ever since then I've been flourishing. I thought I was a Billy Badass. I thought I was that guy. I always thought that I was better than everybody in the room, which wasn't the case. And I've been humbled multiple times, and I think that's what allowed me to have the gym presence that I do now, and also see it from a different point of view when people come into the gym for the first time. I've had several jobs. My very first job, I was 8 years old, and I was doing flyers. I was giving flyers around the neighborhood, but I really wasn't giving them around. I was throwing them motherfuckers in the trash. I was throwing them in like little potholes and shit, and then I'd come back and get more. Because every time I got more, I got paid. He just gave me like $5 at the time. That was a lot of money for me. And then a job that I can remember is I worked at a teen youth program called Project Reach Youth, and it basically helped the community as far as like we got taught how to teach kids, younger kids, about sex education, and then we go to schools and colleges and we'd present presentations to talk to them about how they could use, protection to have protected sex instead of getting STDs and shit. I wanted to be the best skateboarder on this planet. Like, I wanted to skateboard all over the country, all over the world. I wanted to be that, you know, that guy that people say when they think skateboarding, they think Tony Soto. Like, not Tony Hawk, Tony Soto. Like, wow, a Latino who came from the mud and literally just this fucking guy, you know? That was my goal. And I learned things don't always go the way that you want them to, but, you know, you adjust and, you know. 3,000%. I mean, if it wasn't for skateboarding, some of the shots, some of the bangs, the hits, you know, there's nobody in this planet that's gonna hit me harder than I've hit myself. I mean, there's footage online of me falling off a fucking truck onto my head and getting back up. I'll be going over to New York City August 1st to the 4th. I'll be going to Gleason's Boxing Gym, meeting up with Don Saxby. Gonna get some good rounds in over there. I got my buddy Cuba who's gonna be there, and definitely some other good prospects. And the plan is to stop at Polino Cruz's gym over in Jersey and get some rounds in, hopefully with Alex Pereira. I think that'd be amazing, just to move around with that fucking behemoth of a dude. Like, I think that'd be great.